Hi, this is Greg Kihlstrom. Welcome to the Agile World podcast, where we discuss customer experience, employee experience, and transformation in an agile age. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at theagile.world and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, a blueprint for creating an experience-led organization, now available on Amazon and other retailers. Hi, I'm Greg Kihlstrom. Welcome back to the Agile World podcast. Today I'm going to talk about preparing your organization for experience optimization. I'm going to talk about this for both customer and employee experience. While leadership and everyone in your organization may be all in on agreeing that investments in CX and EX are important, they may not always understand the implications of doing so, or in not only creating these platforms, implementing processes, but undergoing a long-term optimization effort. Once you put these things in place, you obviously have to keep continually improving them, which includes measurement, as we talked about in the last episode. Unlike a lot of other more siloed efforts, experience takes a lot of coordination, whether it's between HR and IT on the employee experience side, or marketing and IT or communications on the CX side. In order to ensure there's maximum buy-in, follow-through, and mutual understanding of what a successful holistic experience platform looks like, you need to involve stakeholders from across the organization to get involved. There's several questions that I'm going to go through here that I recommend you ask as you plan your measurement, and I'll discuss over the next few minutes. So first, let's talk about, what are all your customer touch points? So starting on the CX side. It seems obvious, but there's a lot of effort being put into journey mapping and really understanding the customer journey on teams today. So really understanding that there are multiple journeys, because you have different types of customers, most likely you have multiple products, multiple services. You're probably going to have different journeys, all of which might have some different touch points. So understanding that, that process, really seeing it end to end is really important. Same thing goes with employee touch points. So when we talk about EX, everything from, the messaging during recruiting, so, initial stages, to the choices you give them about the devices and the applications that they have when they work there. So making it as seamless as possible for them to get their work done. The way managers communicate with direct reports, other communications during, as an employee and things like that. And even, things like the way meetings are conducted with both in-person and remote employees. Lots of different things to think about. It all involves really mapping out what this looks like for those individual audiences. And obviously those things that I mentioned, that's only a small fraction of the entire employee journey or the customer journey. Next question is, how do you share insights with internal stakeholders? So this goes for both CX and EX. Sometimes, visibility that teams have is really dependent on, the things that they're directly involved with. Well, to do great experience work, you need to be able to see things that are beyond your immediate purview. So giving those teams access to understand what's working, what's not, and even just more information about what customers or employees, depending on your audience, are wanting, will help get buy-in and actually, make better stakeholders out of some of those people that are involved in the process. Next thing is, where should you focus your actions? So I've, recommended several times, in previous episodes to focus on, you can call it a pilot project, a quick win, some kind of smaller step in order to really use that agile process of iterating and optimizing, doing a minimum viable product, so to speak, before you try to do everything. So, try to focus actions on something that will be successful, or feel, with the right team and involvement will be successful, then you do that, you do it well, you measure it, you show success, and then you can not only get greater stakeholder buy-in, but you really have a template for how this works within your organization. I talk a lot about specifics, as far as categorizing things and how things connect with each other in my book, The Center of Experience, but I know that every organization is a little bit different. There's different platforms, there's different technologies being used. People are different, cultures are different in different organizations. So while you can treat the Center of Experience as a blueprint, there's a lot of things that need to be specifically tailored to your organization. That's where really figuring out the best way to focus actions comes into play. Next question I would ask would be, what logistical challenges exist? So there's some obvious things. I've talked about silos before. There may be departments or teams that aren't really communicating or don't really understand, some of each other's challenges. I think that's a huge thing there that needs to be overcome. And successful organizations are able to do that. They actively work on it. Obviously, different departments or divisions within an organization have their own goals and objectives, but really, building that empathy within an organization for, if we can work together, we can either have, we can have a greater employee experience, we can reach our customers more easily, give a greater customer experience. When those silos are broken down and people are clearly communicating, or really even just understand and seeing what they didn't used to see, all of a sudden you're going to have better insights. You're going to get great ideas. I mean, great ideas can come from anywhere within an organization. Just because it doesn't fit in your department or your team's purview doesn't mean you can't contribute a great idea to experience. The other benefit of this is you want to confront these potential logistical or operational challenges head on. You don't want to get far down the process or even halfway through the process and realize that certain things don't really connect with each other, certain systems don't talk to one another, certain teams really aren't prioritizing the same things according to their goals. So you want to try to figure out what these potential challenges would be up front. And, if you can do those things, you can really be successful with measuring what experience is in your organization. You can really start optimizing that. And again, optimizing customer experience on its own, optimizing employee experience on its own, both of those are good, but what we really want to strive for is combining both of those things into what I term brand experience. Thanks again for listening. See you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile World podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. You can learn more and get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, from my website at theagile.world or on Amazon or other retailers. Until next week, stay agile.